Well, time to bring you our roundup of the business news. I'm joined by France 24's Yuka Roya. Yuka, hello to you. We're kicking off with what's been an historic agreement by G20 countries to provide debt relief to poorer countries through something of a common framework. What more can you tell us about this agreement?
Well, Rochelle, it is a major step by the group of 20 countries, but the G20 already froze repayment of debt until next summer, but has been under pressure to go beyond that temporary measure. So today they agreed on a broader coronavirus framework for the first time to reduce or reschedule debt payment for poorer nations. Now, the coronavirus crisis has really put a strain on the world's poorest economies, and half of them are now at risk of having extreme difficulty repaying their debt. Zimbabwe, for instance, is on the brink of defaulting on its foreign debt. So there is an urgent need to reduce debt to help them focus on dealing with the ongoing health crisis, rather than paying back their debt. Under the deal, all public creditors to a particular country are required to take part in debt restructuring, and private banks are also strongly urged to take part. While outright cancellations of debt are not completely ruled out, they are strongly discouraged. G20 leaders are set to endorse the framework agreed today at their virtual summit next week, but critics say the deal does not go far enough.
Yuka, in the meantime, China, it looks like, will be obliged to take part in this framework.
That's right. China, it is significant in that China has signed on to the deal because it is the biggest creditor among the members of G20. It accounted for 63% of total debt owed to G20 last year. But Beijing has been reluctant to acknowledge the need to reduce debt for poorer nations, and it is still unclear exactly how it will join the others in implementing the new measures. It has already come under criticism for defining the state-owned China Development Bank as a private institution to exclude it from the obligations.
Now, Yuka, talk us through how the markets are doing today.
Well, really a rally driven by a successful COVID-19 vaccine trial that started the week today. The week has somehow slowed down, but global stocks are still on track for a strong weekly gain. On Wall Street, all major indices are up, with the Dow jumping 400 points, or about 1.3%, leading the gains of all three major indices. Earlier in Europe, this Friday, London's export-heavy FTSE 100 fell on the back of a stronger pound, but still posted its best week since April.
All right, and just finally from you, Yuka, China has hit back at the US president over his latest executive order, which has targeted some of China's biggest firms. Tell us more.
Well, Beijing has called on Washington to stop what it says is arbitrary suppression of investments into Chinese companies. On Thursday, President Trump signed an executive order barring American firms and pension funds from buying shares of 31 Chinese companies that Washington claims are backed by the military there. They were blacklisted by the US Defense Department earlier this year and include some of the biggest Chinese telecoms and technology firms. The ban will come into effect in January, just days before he's set to leave office on the 11th. On the 11th of January, that's when the executive order will come into force. But let's take a listen first to China's foreign ministry spokesperson speaking earlier this Friday.
This measure not only severely harms the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese companies, it also hurts the interests of international investors, including those from the U.S. China urges the U.S. to view our policy to stop its wrong behavior of using the pretext of national security to recklessly oppress Chinese companies. We will resolutely protect the legitimate rights of Chinese companies.
Well, Yuka, thanks very much for bringing us that roundup of all the business news.